Hey, so it's another Friday, and I just came to check in with you and to have another conversation that is dear to me. Today, I don't have any stories. I loved your response from last week's stories, the voice notes, the text, the feedback, the emails. I loved them. I also love the fact that a lot of you are sharing the stories with your friends, family. I love them, and I love the feedback, how some of you were even in situations that you were trying to express this same sentiment, but the people didn't seem to understand because their understanding of intimacy didn't go beyond the sexual type. So I'm glad that we're opening up that conversation. I'm glad that we're talking and having these conversations that will help us have better and stronger relationships with each other. And to everyone that's been sharing, that's been listening, thank you for the support. I love you and God bless you. It means a lot to me. Today, I want to talk about another thing that is so dear to me, and it is money. Money during and after abuse. A lot of people will come and ask, why didn't she leave? Why is she staying? If it were me, I'll pick my bags and blah, blah, blah. All the works. That question in itself, immediately you ask, you do not understand what abuse is. Let's make that clear. The why question is typically asked by people who don't understand what abuse is and how it works. Second of all, a lot of people assume that people who work should just be able to walk away. So I'm going to have to explain what it is. Now, let me state this. Money doesn't make you happy, but without money, there's nowhere to go. That's why economic abuse is the greatest form of control. Now, what is meant by economic abuse, right? Economic abuse and financial abuse are very similar, and they're used interchangeably, but I think that financial abuse is actually a subset or a subcategory of economic abuse, because when it comes to financial abuse, they are controlling your finances, they are taking your money, or they are coercing you to go into debt or they are coercing you not to go into a business because they are not supporting you in any way. Now, economic abuse rather has to do with restricting you, exploiting you, sabotaging your resources, such as you start a business and you're trying to push, and then if you've taken money for them, you start the business. Within a month, they're taking their money back. Or you need to get something and you're like, oh, can you help me when I'm steady on my feet? They're like, no, because they want you to go into your money. Or they refuse to give you money for the upkeep of the home because their expectation is that you go into that money that you're using for your business. Some even go as far as, why didn't you give me the money so I buy the things that you wanted to use for your business? I mean, do I take your money and go and buy the things that you use for your business? They also dictate to you what kind of job you should do and not do. So it becomes a very, very difficult situation. And trust me, you're not alone. 98% of women in domestic violence or abuse situations are going through financial or economic abuse. It's a form of coercive control that abusers use because they want to ensure that the victim or survivor is staying put right where they are, because when money comes, they have options of moving into a house, taking the children to a school, going to and fro, buying the things that they need. So no abuser wants their partner to be economically independent. Initially, they start off very subtly and do the what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine kind of situation. But eventually you realize real quick that no, what's yours is not theirs. What's yours is theirs, but what's theirs is not yours. So domestic abuse takes many forms. Abusers may restrict, they may exploit, they may sabotage you. And it's designed to limit your freedom and access to making decisions. So when the next time you think about asking someone why they didn't leave, understand that besides the risk involved, there's also money involved. Are they going to move back to their parents? What if they don't have, their parent doesn't have a home of their own? Are they going to move back with their sister? Is their sister or brother married? Is their family members, are they even willing to accommodate them or their children if they have any? So when it comes to sabotaging, they might prevent you from being in education or employment. They might limit your working hours. They might force you to use your money to take your pay. Oh, give me some of your money, I'll give it back to you. They take your children's savings or birthday money. They refuse to let you access your own bank account or theirs, even though maybe your money might be in it. They might control when and how your money is spent. That's a restriction. So for the restriction, they dictate what you can buy. They make you ask for money or provide you with an allowance that is even a bare minimum, so you can't even do anything with it. They check your receipts. They make you keep a spending diary. They make you justify every single purchase you made and why you made it. They insist on all assets, savings, home, car, being in their name. They keep financial information secret from you. They control the use of mobile phone, your car, even internet access and TV. They want you to watch what they want to watch. They want you to use the internet. Sometimes when you're using the internet, they just go and turn it off because, well, I paid for it. So they exploit your ability to maintain economic return. They take your money without your knowledge. They use it for other things, and they're like, oh, I took your money, I forgot, I'll give it back. They never do. They refuse or kind of push a lot of the household burdens on you, even though they earn more money than you, because they want to behave as if they don't have money. They spend money on household items and bills. They might make you spend their money. They might decide that, oh, you and your children use the internet a lot, so I'm not going to pay for the internet at home, even though they can afford to. They sometimes build debt in your name without your knowledge. They just cause damage to your property, and they don't apologize. Now, let one misfortune happen to their property, oh my gosh, for the rest of your life you will suffer for it. It was intentional. You're not the one who spends the money. You're not the one who buys it. You're not the one who does that. So they go off on you over and over and over again. And a lot of people just think that, oh, shouldn't you be able to walk away? I mean, when you hear survivor stories, it's crazy. It's crazy because every time they are trying as much as possible to ensure that you can't move on, you can't survive, you can't have access to money, you can't do things, because when you move with your children, you have to provide food, you have to provide clothing, transportation, accommodation, education, health, and recreation. I don't believe that just because you're in a situation, so you can't have a little bit of fun, But a lot of people get so preoccupied that they forget to live a little, because that's what your partner wants. They want your life to end because you've moved on from the abuse. So they will do everything that's possible and make sure that you are not kind of thriving or surviving. So it's important that people understand that it's not black and white and it's not that simple. So for me, I always say that when abuse is happening, the most important thing that a victim has to do is to start saving. You have to start saving. Little drops of water make a mighty ocean. We've heard it over and over again, but trust me, it's not a cliche. It's a fact. It's a statement of fact. Try as much as possible to save. When it comes to your exit plan, try as much as possible to save. It's important that you try as much as possible to put money away. When you're putting the money away, to Put money away for food, put money, like segment it. Have your budget, understand the needs that each of your children have, the stages where they are, the kind of things that they will need. So you try to plan ahead. Planning is a lifesaver. Without planning, I don't even know where I will be at. So it's important. I've always said that when it comes to domestic abuse and support for the victim, it's virtually non-existent. Not family, not banks, not work, there's none. It's very few people who will even allow their staff who's in a domestic abuse situation to even be able to close early so they can pick up their kids. I have a great work environment, to be honest with you, and they couldn't have been more gracious, and so I say that it's important for the support to be keen. Can I walk into a bank and say, I am a victim and this is the situation, and do they have a facility? I was checking outside, and the funny thing, banks even have domestic abuse, like Lloyd's, HSBC in the UK. They have domestic abuse desk that victims can go to and access a kind of help with lower rates and all of that. I don't know any bank in Ghana or in Africa where you can go and access those things. Maybe our banks need to think about it, because at the end of the day, it is only through the support, the social support, that a victim can stand on their feet. The community is essential to a victim being able to stand on their feet. And a lot of people will say, if you need anything, ask. Victims or survivors won't ask because they've been through the mill. They would rather not ask and make you feel like they are begging. Offer the help. If you really want to help, that all is not well because they are practically a single parent. So offer the help, but to ask them to ask, I think that it puts a lot of pressure on them as well. Understand that it's a traumatic situation for them already. So please, if you want to help a survivor, help them without them having to ask, because you replace the abuser in their lives. Because bear in mind that the abuser will thrive on the fact that they always had to ask, because they wanted that power and they wanted to wield that power of saying yes or no. So a victim can be triggered by a lot of things. So asking them to ask is a no for me. It's a no for me. And domestic abuse, in terms of economic and financial abuse, is one of the most common forms of abuse, but it is very subtle. It's a common form of power and control. Intimate partner violence against women has been increasing since 1970s. Why in 20 words? But it's even getting worse. One of the commonest and most frequently used and effective strategies is economic abuse, because it doesn't show, or as a scar. Neither does it show in pain. It's just that the survivor has to pinch and make money here and there, and then and try as much as possible to survive. So when you are being in an abusive situation and you have an exit plan, think about multiple streams of income. Think about investments. Think about mutual funds. Think about mortgage. Think about housing. Think about long-term and compound interest and your children's education. Prepare them towards trying for scholarships, among other things, because it gets harder with time. And the thing is, abusers will leave you because they want to hold you in the corner and hold a knife to your throat, because they want to cripple you and blame you that, it's because you left, that's why. No. When you leave an abusive situation, your perpetrator doesn't stop being a parent. Once they stop being a parent, it means they've made a deliberate and conscious effort not to be a parent. It's got nothing to do with the decision that you've made to put yourself in a space where respect and disdain, respect is no longer being served, and all you get is disdain. So please try as much as possible to stay away from someone who is not ready to compromise, who's not ready to be a parent, who's not ready to support you in any way, because they won't. They just want to see you burn and crash. They just want to see you burn and crash, and they will make absolutely no effort to lift a finger. Such a person is not a good person. They just like the idea of being a parent, but they are not ready to be a parent. So evidently they will walk away from their responsibility, and then they'll come and say things like, oh, but I took the children out. No, take responsibility. Take responsibility. Don't be that parent who shirks their responsibility in the name of your partner has decided that then once the children are born to you, you are a parent. Right? Once the children are born to you, you are a parent. So you cannot say that, oh, because of XYZ, I'm going to pretend as if my children don't exist. Once you are pretending as if your children don't exist, it is deliberate. It is deliberate. So I will tell you as a victim, start saving, have a plan. If you are an estate developer, if you are someone who can give houses, even renting to own option for domestic abuse victims is not even there. Mortgage is high. Now imagine someone who's been prevented from working, who doesn't have access to a bank account. How do you want them to get a mortgage? Are they supposed to stay on the streets with their children? Are they supposed to be homeless? There's no government policy that encourages women in such a situation, or that gives some kind of respite for women in such a situation. In Ghana, good education is expensive. If you don't get a school that understands your situation and makes concessions for you, that means your children are going to be missing out in school because one partner is refusing to take responsibility for the children, even as the issue is being resolved or not. Until the issue is resolved, you are still a parent, so you ought to take responsibility as a parent. But no, abusers, narcissists, sociopaths, they don't think like that. All they think about is punishing the survivor or the victim because they've dared to walk away from the coercive control. And that's one way you can tell that someone is abusive. That's one way. When they stop checking their responsibilities, you know that they've not changed. You know that they're the same person. You know that they will even do worse when you go back. A lot of abusers forget that their actions tell the victim a lot. They tell the survivor a lot. They tell the people around them a lot. And so they begin to act as if they would have done something. No, that's just who they are. That's just who they are. So I will say this over and over again. If they are not ready to make that change, continue saving. Save towards your pension. Save towards health. Save towards housing. Save towards transportation. Save towards recreation. Just do the little drops of water make a mighty ocean theory. Go with compound interest and watch yourself bloom and blossom. And please, if you are in any position whatsoever to help someone who's been in a domestic abuse situation, please don't even think twice about it, because it takes the community, it takes everyone to ensure that they come back on their feet. Lift them up, hold up their hand, and be a great support system for them. Don't just squeeze your hand and watch them and say, oh, if you need anything, come and ask me. Be a support system. Please be a support system and ensure that they are all doing well, because what the abuser wants is to see them crash and burn. What they want is to see that they don't have any help. That's why they do smear campaign. That's why they recruit flying monkeys. That's why they recruit people to be their friends. That's why they are talking to people that they will not necessarily talk to, and put the victim in a bad light and say things like, oh, they are angry, they are more chairman. So that kind of phrase. How do you even call it? They are being litigants. what I said. So for my non-Chi and non-Ghanaian listeners, also they will try to frame you as someone who is being dramatic or overzealous about the situation when they know that it is not just an ordinary situation. For the sake of your children, be a cycle breaker. For the sake of your own peace of mind, be a cycle breaker. For the sake of the fact that you are worthy and deserve to be treated with respect, be a cycle breaker. Finances are a major cocoa. Dear banks, please create some form of finances for women in domestic abuse situations. Please create investment advisors for them. Real estate companies, help women who've been through such situations get homes of their own and pay you at very minimal interest, because their burden is a lot. You can't lump them up with everybody else. I think it's something that we need to have conversations about. But then again, well, here we are. So I will say that let's all do our best and try as much as possible to be each other's keeper. Save. Always remember compound interest. Little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Have specific things that you want to save up for. Have an emergency fund. Have a living expenses fund. Have a long-term savings fund for you, for your children, and then a pension fund as well. It's really important, because your abuser just wants to see you burn and crash, so they will do everything in their power to damage you. But you are worthy, you're strong, and you can and will make it. Until same time next week, take good care of yourself. Learn to keep some coins somewhere and take care of yourself. Love you and always.